The Spartan philosophy, also known as the Laconian philosophy or the Spartan way of life, is a unique and fascinating worldview that has intrigued historians, philosophers, and political theorists for centuries. Rooted in the small Greek city-state of Sparta, this philosophy profoundly shaped not only the Spartan people but also the broader culture of ancient Greece, influencing ideals of discipline, citizenship, warfare, and governance. Sparta's philosophy emphasized simplicity, discipline, self-denial, and total loyalty to the state. Below is a deep dive into the key elements of the Spartan philosophy, its principles, and its lasting impact. Sparta, unlike its counterpart Athens, was a city-state that prioritized military prowess, social stability, and collective unity over individualism and intellectual pursuits. Its philosophy was deeply intertwined with the idea of the polis, city-state, and the notion that the survival and flourishing of the state took precedence over personal desires or ambitions. The Spartan way of life was designed to cultivate arete, which in this context meant excellence in military strength, moral virtue, and disciplined self-control. This was achieved through an elaborate system of education and socialization known as the Agoge, a rigorous program that shaped Spartan citizens from birth until adulthood. In this exploration, we will unpack how the Spartan philosophy governed every aspect of life in Sparta, from governance and military duty to gender roles, social structures, and the Spartan view of morality and ethics. Spartan governance and the role of the citizen. The foundation of the Spartan philosophy was a communal dedication to the state. Sparta was an oligarchy, ruled by two kings who oversaw both military and political matters, alongside a council of elders known as the Gerousia. The state functioned with a unique form of mixed government. It combined monarchy, the two kings, aristocracy, the council of elders, and a semblance of democracy, through the assembly of citizens, or apella. However, in Spartan society, the citizen, homoioi, was more than just a participant in governance. They were fundamentally a soldier and a servant of the state. From a young age, Spartan boys were trained to fight and die for their polis. The Spartan worldview valued communal responsibility and collective welfare above personal freedom. In contrast to the more individualistic philosophies of other Greek city-states, such as Athens, where personal fulfillment and intellectual growth were encouraged, the Spartan citizen's life was devoted to the defense and stability of the state. Key values. Eunomia, the concept of good order and governance. For Spartans, this meant that all citizens lived under strict laws that maintained stability and harmony within the state. Sophrosyne, the ideal of moderation and self-control, which was instilled through the Spartan education system and was seen as key to a well-ordered society. Obedience to the state. For Spartans, absolute loyalty and submission to the laws of the polis were non-negotiable. The Agoge, education and discipline. Central to the Spartan way of life was the Agoge, the state-controlled education system that prepared Spartan males to be warriors and responsible citizens. The Agoge began when boys were taken from their families at age 7 and entered a communal lifestyle that would last for the rest of their lives. The Agoge emphasized physical endurance, discipline, and martial skills, but it also cultivated values like loyalty, obedience, and self-reliance. The system was designed to toughen boys, teaching them to survive under harsh conditions, endure pain without complaint, and fight as part of a collective. Spartans were taught to avoid luxury, embrace simplicity, and remain focused on their duty to the state. Notable aspects of the Agoge. Endurance training. Spartan boys were subjected to harsh conditions, such as inadequate clothing and food, to build resilience. They were also encouraged to steal to survive, but were punished severely if caught, not for stealing, but for being caught. Combat training. Martial prowess was a core part of Spartan education. Boys trained in wrestling, spear fighting, and other forms of combat, preparing them for life in the military. Intellectual training. Though Spartans are often remembered for their physical toughness, they were also trained in rhetoric and critical thinking, albeit with a practical, militaristic focus. They were expected to be concise and to the point, giving rise to the term laconic speech. The role of pain and sacrifice. The Spartan philosophy believed that pain and sacrifice were vital in developing a strong citizen. Spartans were conditioned to view death in battle as the highest form of honor, with the famous mantra, "Return with your shield," or on it, emphasizing the importance of dying in service to Sparta rather than fleeing from battle. Spartan society and social structures. Spartan society was highly stratified and revolved around the military elite, the homoioi. These were the full citizens of Sparta, who had completed the Agoge and served in the Spartan army. Below them were the perioikoi, free but non-citizen inhabitants, who engaged in trade and craft, and the helots, who were essentially state-owned serfs or slaves. The helots were indigenous people who had been conquered by Sparta and were forced to work the land, providing food and resources for the Spartan state. The relationship between Spartans and helots was brutal and oppressive, as the helots were constantly kept in check through fear and violence. Spartans engaged in regular, secret wars against them to maintain control. This domination of the helots allowed Spartan citizens to focus exclusively on military training and governance. Equality among Spartans. The word homoioi literally means equals, reflecting the ideal of equality among full Spartan citizens. In theory, all Spartan men were equal in terms of wealth and status after completing their education. In practice, however, disparities in wealth and influence still existed. Communal living. One of the most unique aspects of Spartan life was their communal living. Even after marriage, Spartan men would continue to live in military barracks with their peers, only seeing their families occasionally. This further reinforced the collective over the individual. Spartan women and their role. Unlike many other Greek city-states, women in Sparta enjoyed a relatively high degree of autonomy and freedom. This is one of the most distinctive aspects of Spartan society, and it reflects their broader philosophical commitment to the strength and survival of the state. Spartan women were expected to be physically strong and were trained in athletics from a young age. Their primary role was to produce healthy children, particularly strong sons who could become soldiers. Spartan women were allowed to own and inherit property, and they played an important role in managing household affairs, especially since the men spent much of their time away in military service. Key aspects of Spartan women's lives. Physical training. Like men, Spartan women were expected to be physically fit, as it was believed that strong women would bear strong children. This was unique in the ancient world, where women's roles were usually confined to domestic duties. Public influence. Spartan women, although excluded from formal political life, wielded influence through their roles as mothers and wives. They were respected for their contributions to the state, especially in their ability to raise strong soldiers. Marriage and family life. Marriage in Sparta was also distinct. It was delayed until the men completed their military training, and even then, married men continued to live communally with their fellow soldiers. Spartan morality and ethics. The Spartan ethic was one of austerity, discipline, and service. Morality in Sparta was not concerned with the pursuit of pleasure or intellectual fulfillment, as it was in Athens. Instead, Spartan morality was about the welfare of the polis and the fulfillment of one's duties to the state. Key moral values. Austerity. Spartans rejected luxury, believing that wealth and material excess weakened individuals and, by extension, the state. Simple living was a core value. Courage and bravery. Courage in battle was the highest virtue in Spartan society. Cowardice was the ultimate shame, often resulting in exclusion from society. Obedience and loyalty. Spartans believed that total loyalty to the state was essential for its survival. Obedience to laws and superiors was considered virtuous, and rebellion or insubordination was unthinkable. Impact on Western thought, especially in the realms of military strategy, governance, and ethics. The ideals of discipline, sacrifice, and collective responsibility continue to resonate today. The concept of the Spartan lifestyle is still used to describe those who embrace simplicity, austerity, and discipline in their personal lives. In modern times, the image of the Spartan warrior has been romanticized in literature, film, and popular culture. Movies like 300 have further solidified the ideal of the Spartan soldier as a symbol of strength, resilience, and uncompromising duty. However, it's important to remember that while the Spartans were admired for their discipline and military prowess, their society was also built on the subjugation of others and a rigid social order. Conclusion. The Spartan philosophy represents a unique and highly disciplined approach to life, governance, and society. Unlike other Greek city-states, such as Athens, which emphasized intellectual pursuits, democracy, and individualism, Sparta prioritized the collective well-being of the state, martial excellence, and a rigid social structure that demanded complete loyalty and sacrifice. Every aspect of Spartan life, from governance to education and even family structure, was carefully engineered to create a society that could survive and thrive through constant military readiness and social cohesion. Sparta's political structure, with its dual kingship, council of elders, and assembly, reflects a balance between autocracy, aristocracy, and limited democracy, which allowed for stability and efficiency. This system ensured that Sparta remained focused on its primary mission, to maintain its military supremacy and social order. The emphasis on collective duty over individual freedom was key to its long-term stability but also limited personal development and innovation. The rigorous Agoge system shaped Spartan citizens into warriors who were conditioned to endure hardship, sacrifice personal comfort, and think collectively. The Spartan ethos of toughness and self-discipline became a model of military education and discipline that is admired to this day. The education system, which deprived boys of comfort and enforced survival strategies, built citizens whose primary focus was loyalty to the state. Spartan women, while not participating in warfare, played an essential role in maintaining the Spartan system by bearing and raising strong children, managing households, and owning property. They were given more rights and freedoms than women in other Greek states, a reflection of their important role in maintaining the state's focus on military supremacy. This progressive stance toward women's rights, unusual in ancient societies, speaks to the pragmatic side of Spartan governance, which saw every aspect of life through the lens of state survival. The Spartan social hierarchy, while necessary for maintaining the state structure, was built on the oppression of the helot population. While this system allowed Spartan citizens to focus solely on military and governance matters, it also revealed the darker side of Spartan society, as the helots lived in a constant state of fear and subjugation. This extreme dependence on the forced labor of others is a stark contrast to the ideals of equality and camaraderie that Sparta espoused among its own citizens. Ethically, the Spartan focus on austerity, discipline, and obedience to the state shaped a society that valued courage, simplicity, and sacrifice. However, this came at the cost of individual freedoms and intellectual development, with citizens living highly regulated lives. The extreme emphasis on collective duty and sacrifice fostered a sense of unity and resilience that made Sparta one of the most feared military powers of its time. Yet, it also left little room for personal expression or cultural development, aspects that other Greek city-states like Athens excelled in. Despite the eventual decline of Sparta, its philosophy has left a profound legacy. The Spartan ideal of stoic simplicity, self-discipline, and martial excellence continues to inspire military organizations, athletes, and leaders today. The phrase, Spartan lifestyle, still evokes images of strength, discipline, and austerity. However, the Spartan model also serves as a cautionary tale, reminding us that a society built solely on militarism and collective sacrifice may be strong but not necessarily balanced or just for all of its inhabitants. In modern discourse, the Spartan philosophy's focus on communal good over individual rights has sparked debates about the nature of freedom, duty, and governance. While the Spartan model offered stability and security, it also required a significant sacrifice of personal liberty and human rights, especially for the helots. Thus, the legacy of Sparta is both admired for its military prowess and discipline, and critiqued for its harshness and reliance on oppression. Sparta's contribution to Western civilization is undeniable. It demonstrated the power of unity, discipline, and loyalty to the state. Yet, the cost of such an approach was immense, and it ultimately limited the potential for innovation, cultural development, and personal freedom. As we reflect on Spartan philosophy today, it challenges us to consider the balance between collective responsibility and individual liberty, a tension that remains relevant in contemporary political and social thought. Thank you for exploring the fascinating world of Spartan philosophy with us. We hope you gained a deeper understanding of the principles that shaped one of the most disciplined and unique societies in history. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, comment, and consider subscribing for more in-depth explorations of historical philosophies, cultures, and ideas. Also, check out the links below for additional resources and related topics. Thanks for watching Cyber Theo, and we'll see you in the next video.